This is the Education Business Podcast for consultants and business owners providing services in schools. I'm Claire Riley, and I'll be sharing how to start, grow and scale your education business.
Hello and welcome to the Education Business Podcast. It's a solo episode from me today, and I want to talk about evaluating your priorities. To translate that, what are you putting off that you shouldn't be putting off? So when we think about priorities and getting results in our businesses, we think that it's about the small things that we do, the small tasks, the actions that we take. And it is about that, it absolutely is. But they still sit under your priorities. So if your priorities aren't right, you're never going to get to where you want to go by taking these small actions. So I want us to think about today what we are putting off that we shouldn't be. Now, this isn't a case of, how do I bring more into my life? There's definitely a call for that sometimes. I think we can spend longer on tasks and then think, okay, I need to do less without first working out how to be able to get more done. So that's a balance in itself, whether you get rid of tasks or whether you can add more to it. But I am all for getting rid of tasks that are not really serving us. So even right now, I am looking to simplify some things in my life. I feel like I've got an awful lot on, I've got different responsibilities, and there are some things that I just know that I need to drop because it's not really getting me towards where I'm wanting to go. So yes, absolutely get rid of tasks if you need to. But sometimes we're just not doing what we should be doing because of a number of things. It might be that we are favouring tasks that feel easier. We might be favouring tasks that we believe bring in sales, which is a brilliant thing to do, but that might not be the only thing we need to do. And a really good example of that is you can be fueling more and more chaos in your business by getting loads more sales and building a team, but not really looking at the structure of that team and whether it's setting you up for future success. And that example I gave you just then, it's a really hard thing to do. It's very difficult, and we can put it off because it feels too hard and it's easier to stay busy in all the smaller, more predictable tasks that make us feel nice. I'm not saying that it's not the small actions and tasks that make the big difference. It is. It's just about whether they are under the right priority. And so what I want you to do today is to think about something you are putting off in your life. It might be buying a course. It might be hiring a team member. It might be getting a coach, joining a membership, putting a proper process in place in your business, dealing with a member of the team in a way that sets the business up for future success, even if that's really hard to do. And so keep that in your mind, and we're going to evaluate together whether or not you're putting it off and whether you should make it a priority. This is about figuring out if you have the right priorities. Because when we have the right priorities, we'll stack up all of the actions and tasks underneath that priority, and that will be the thing that we're working towards. Lots of business coaches and mentors talk about taking action because it's so important, but you have to take action under the right priorities. So think about that thing. You might want to keep pausing this episode and writing the answers down. But why are you putting it off? Why are you putting this thing that you know you should do off? Is it because it feels hard? And does it feel hard in a way that, if you're really honest with yourself, you know you should tackle? Or does it feel hard in a way because you don't think it's the right thing? Can you tell the difference between an uncomfortable feeling of this is the wrong thing to do and an uncomfortable feeling of this is going to make me really have to step out of my comfort zone, and that's why I don't want to do it? Is it actually as big as you think it is? Do you have perceptions about this particular thing that maybe you need to do a bit of research on to see if it's actually as you think it is? Does it feel like the right thing to do or not? They can be quite hard questions to answer. Sometimes our brain just wants to say, it's dangerous, that's why I'm not doing it, to give us the excuse, to make it easy for ourselves, to make it safe. And if that's you, it's good to test it. and ask yourself, if I keep putting this thing off, will it help me get to where I want to go? Or will it stop me from getting where I want to go? That's the question that can really help us get to the truth. Let's imagine that you've realised, oh yeah, I really do need to do that thing that I keep putting off. Should you be putting something else off instead? Has it made you realise your priorities aren't right and you've given something else a higher priority than it should actually have? What is it you're actually afraid of? Is it exposure? Is it having to do things that you don't know how to do? Is it the time it's going to take up? And if that's the case, that can certainly be a reason why we stop ourselves from doing something that we know that we should do, because we're worried about the amount of time it's going to take from us. So is there a way then, in that circumstance, to merge it into something you're already doing? Can you dual task with this thing? Do you really understand how long it will take each week? What happens if the question was, how can I make this reality? How can I make this a priority? Does that change things for you? And as we're getting through these questions, it'll really help you think, is there a mindset issue here I need to fix? Is it about the actual thing? Or is there a subconscious mindset thing going on that I need to look at here? What would making this thing a priority give you? And what would putting it off give you? And how do those two things compare? Does making it a priority vastly outweigh, in terms of benefits, the cons of not making it a priority? And have you been driven by making excuses? So my brain loves to give me an excuse, and I have to work through these. Don't be fooled. Don't think that I think I need to make something a priority and I instantly make it a priority. I have to work through these things just like anyone else. Sometimes it goes on months, where I know deep down I need to make it a priority, and I have to come around to the idea. But at the moment, I am being really intentional about making sure that I get the important stuff done and not worrying about all the little things that we can think are important in business. And that's because I have had to up the number of priorities that I have, and I've had to find a way to fit all of those in and make them work together. My excuses are usually related to time. Time is my thing. I want to have more time. And so I'll use the excuse that I can't do something because it's the school holidays. So even thinking ahead to some of the live trainings that I'm going to be delivering at Education Business Club, I've scheduled a few of those in the summer holidays, and I had to push through there because I didn't want to put it in the school holidays. But the truth is, if it's a priority to me, I will make it happen. And so I have. Because if I don't make that a priority in the school holidays, something else will creep in. I'm going to have the time with the kids anyway. We're going to have lots of lovely adventures because that is one of my priorities. But I will still want to do work. So I have a choice. I either make something important a priority, or other things will make themselves my priority. So if I want the best results, I have to have that awareness and choose the right thing to do. So what have you been putting off that you know you really need to do? Something that's actually going to make a difference in your business? If you feel able to share with me, I would absolutely love to know if you have evaluated any of the priorities in your business and you've had a change of heart based on the questions that you've allowed yourself to ask yourself and be honest with yourself about. Things only change when we show awareness and we do things differently. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Education Business Podcast. I really hope that you've taken something away that you can action this week, and I'll see you in next week's episode.
Thank you for listening to the Education Business Podcast. To get more information to grow your business, sign up at educationbusinessclub.co.uk.